Hello, my name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel, a 3 to 4 to 100 billion minute or so podcast of films that I review, of all kinds of genres, of all kinds of nationalities, of all kinds of topics of discussion. Now, this is Christmas season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. It's not Christmas yet, but I got a Christmas film for you. It's a favorite. It's called Elf. It's a 2003 American Christmas comedy film directed by Jon Favreau. Now, I am surprised that Jon Favreau directed this film. I mean, when you look at Jon Favreau, without knowing who this person is, you would never think he would be directing any kind of work, but he has. But not only is he a director, he's also a screenwriter. Obviously, he's also an actor. He's directed all of the Iron Man films, which I am surprised as well because, dude, his first film was the famous cult classic Swingers, who was directed by Doug Liman. Imagine he wrote Swingers. Good film, good script. But this guy has been directing his own stuff. He's been directing movies like Chef, the series Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars, not only a Star Wars favorite, but a lot of people like his stuff. He's done The Lion King, the live action version, so on and so forth. He's a good director, and I can't wait to see what he comes up next. I heard that there might be an Elf 2. I hope it gets canceled because why are you gonna put out a sequel to honestly a modern American classic such as Elf? So hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyways, this film was produced by John Berg, Todd Kamanarnicki, and Shauna Robertson, starring Will Ferrell, James Caan, Zooey Deschanel. It's two O's, so I'm gonna say Zooey. Mary Steenburgen, Edward Asner, Goat, and Bob Newhart. Cinematography by Greg Gardner. Edited by Dan Lebenthal. Music by John Debney. Now, this is also a fantasy film because it shows Elf going through all kinds of stuff to get from the North Pole to New York. Now, to put it very briefly, I mean, a lot of people know what this film's about, but for those who don't know, it's about a human being named Buddy the elf, who was raised by Santa's elves, and he doesn't figure out that he's a human until when he reaches a certain age of adolescence. And you can also notice at the fact that compared to the elves, Will Ferrell's he's a tall regular human being, and these elves are like probably like 3 feet, which is like little below my height because I'm a little bit over 5 feet. So either way, finds out that he got adopted, and in some weird way, he wants to discover who his parents are. And not only that, the people in Santa's workshop in the North Pole, you pretty much encourage him to kind of go because it is almost impossible for a human being to not to coexist, but like to be amongst what he thought was his peers. And there are better and bigger things for him, literally. So why not? But the great part is that if it doesn't work out, he will always have a home. And I think that's very sweet. What I like about this film, it's cheerful. There are moments of hardship, which every film has. But overall, this is a film about growing up. This is a film about not only taking accountability of your actions, but it's also about opening up to new things and making sure you got your shit together as far as like who you have in your life that matters to you. We have people in our lives who we claim are close, but we don't do anything to basically reassure that concept of being close. And this film shows that. This is also a film where people discover new things such as love, such as peace and unity, because obviously in the film you see James Caan's character, he's a workaholic, doesn't really spend too much time with his family, let alone his wife. He doesn't really spend time for himself, and kind of sucks, man, especially for someone who's successful, especially in New York. Who knows how it is, but it shows good depth of a character changing from, a grumpy, lonely-ish outsider to somebody who is actually not only being welcomed into their hearts, but also embraced into their hearts. And I like how the script pretty much put that together for his character. And I'm not even talking about Elf. I'm not even talking about Buddy the Elf. Buddy the Elf is, as far as his character is concerned, he's not that simple. He's a complex character, obviously, because it's like reverse roles. And it's funny because you see that same type of reverse role in in Step Brothers, where Will Ferrell's character is basically a fucking man child, you know? Except that in Elf, this is like the PG version of that. Imagine seeing the Step Brothers character in Elf. It would just be a totally different movie. I would want to see a movie like that. You know what? If Step Brothers ever makes a sequel that's set, well, it's funny because there is a Christmas scene in Step Brothers, which is to me like one of the most perfect sequences in Christmas film history, especially the part where Will Ferrell just screams his ass off when he finds out that his mom and his stepdad are getting a divorce. It's gold. Either way, that's a different film. That's a different review. If you want me to review that, send me an email at officialmorningreal@gmail.com. Either way, man child. This man changes in the script, changes on screen. He goes through all kinds of what, humans go through, especially in New York, on a daily basis. This guy drinks. This guy finds out about coffee. This guy finds out about responsibilities, how to dress, how to talk to people, how to separate the fantasy from reality. Because, when he first walks into to his new home, it's like Santa's workshop all over again. And it's funny, we think it's cute, it's cool, but there's a problem with it. And James Caan's character sees that right off the bat, but he sees it as he sees it in a negative way. And I like how things change between those two characters, the father and the son, especially the other son who doesn't really have a bond with his father, and it shows. And here comes Buddy the Elf, who's a human, pretty much saves not only Christmas, but he saves people. He saves mental health, and I think it's great. Flaws in this film. Ooh, now, even though to me this film is a entertaining Christmas modern classic, all these Christmas classic films, they're not, they're not the best written films, but they're good enough. And that's what I think that's what Christmas is all about. Is about doing your best, putting it out there, and really not caring too much about how you're going to receive. It's about giving. And it's more than just presents. And this film shows that. And I think that's great because we live in a very fast paced, complex, capitalistic society where it's all buy, buy, buy. There's little of save, save, save. There's little of reinvesting. We forget that sometimes. But we have films like Elf, who pretty much show us that, Christmas is really not about the gifts at all. Especially if you're going to buy somebody you can buy whatever the fuck you want, right? You can give whatever you want, as long as it comes from the heart. This film comes from the heart. It's not perfect, but much like everybody else, we're not perfect, but we do our best. Flaws. I never said the flaws. I guess it needs some work as far as not necessarily character development, because these characters are even the supporting characters, they're good. They're written very well. They're acted very well by these actors. I mean, you have a great cast here. You have a legendary cast. You got Bob Newhart. You got James Caan. And honestly, Will Ferrell is becoming a legend day by day, because this man is not afraid to play any role. I mean, if you've seen Will Ferrell's work, he plays all kinds of people in all kinds of situations. And most of the time, and I'm saying 90% of the time, it works. He's still pushing it. I feel like he's a little too old for certain roles, but that's Will Ferrell, man. To me, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. Yeah, because this guy has range. Either way, this movie's really not about him, but he is the main character. I mean, his face is on the cover of the film, so you got to give him his flowers. But he wouldn't be where he's at as far as the film is concerned without the supporting cast. The music is great. It's very cheerful. It embodies Christmas. It supports Christmas. It pushes Christmas. The ending is great. It's a good ending. I think the problem that I have with this film is really it's just certain scenes, I guess. Maybe certain scenes shouldn't be there, or maybe it should be reworked. I don't know, but it is what it is. But it is a unique Christmas film, because it's even though it's aimed for the family, it's an adult film, because I mean, if a kid were to see it, there are some things that they wouldn't just understand off the bat, but they're kids, so there's so much that they could understand, especially through their attention span, which is not a lot, especially nowadays with the fucking screens and all that bullshit. But don't turn your face away from Elf. Watch it, cook up some popcorn, have a slice of pie, make a hot chocolate or a coffee. Trust me. And you know what? Smoke a little joint or something, because this film is actually good when it comes to, self-medicating. This film's pretty much cool to sit back and relax and take away from your problems. And not only that, it reassures you as to who you are as a person, especially during this time, because when it comes to Christmas, it's crazy. Simple as that. I heard that this Christmas season, quote unquote, has been the most spent ever in history. But then again, history repeats itself. I'm pretty sure next year it's going to be even much more crazier. And to be honest, it's crazy now because it wasn't crazy during COVID. So I guess people needed to catch up on spending. Either way, my name is Ray Salazar. Follow me on Morning Shot Films, IG and YouTube. Check out my other reviews. I got 57 of them. This one's 58, and there is more to come. Sometimes I put them on Thursday. Sometimes I put them on Sunday. But if I see a movie and I like it enough to review it at the spot, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to release it the same day or the next day. Who knows? That's the beauty about my podcast, is that it's so short in the sense that I can just put whatever the fuck I want at any given moment. So I thank God for the internet. And Christmas Day, I will be putting out a Charlie Brown Christmas. I haven't seen it, but I am excited to see it and to talk about it briefly for everybody. Thank you.